Clutching his ticket like a lifeline, Lucas Hayes, 36 years old, stood at gate C-23, the baby carrier tied against his chest as the terminal buzzed with travelers rushing, waiting, sleeping, and pacing. His son, Eli, just 10 months old, slept against him, his forehead hot with a stubborn fever that refused to break. Lucas shifted his weight from one aching leg to the other. His jeans were wrinkled, and his flannel shirt had juice stains and the marks of sleep deprivation. But none of that mattered. He just needed to get home. They had come to Boston for Lucas's mother's funeral. She had died suddenly. Heart failure, they said. One moment, she was planting roses in her backyard, and the next, she was gone. Lucas had flown in from Denver, rushing with Eli in tow, his first flight as a single dad. His ex had left when Eli was 5 weeks old, saying she wasn't cut out for motherhood. Since then, it had been just Lucas and Eli. Every hour, every diaper, every bottle, every lullaby. Now, after 2 missed standby flights, Lucas stood praying for a miracle. A young airline agent stepped up to the gate desk and called, "Hayes? Lucas?" Her voice barely cut through the din of boarding announcements. He stepped forward. "Yes, that's me." She offered a soft smile. "We've got 1 seat left on the flight to Denver." Lucas blinked. "Just 1?" She nodded. "Yes, but you can hold your baby on your lap. He's still within the age limit." Lucas looked down at Eli's flushed face, his little chest rising and falling with each congested breath. "That's fine. Thank you, really." The agent handed him the boarding pass. "You're in seat 32D, sir, all the way at the back. Safe travels." Lucas murmured a quiet thanks, blinking back tears. It wasn't just a seat, it was a way home. He adjusted the strap of the carrier, repositioning Eli carefully, and stepped onto the plane. A flight attendant checked his pass and motioned toward the back. Lucas trudged down the aisle, bumping shoulders, murmuring apologies as passengers settled in. He passed the comfort of business class, the luxury of first class, and then a calm voice stopped him. "Excuse me," a woman said from the aisle seat in first class. She had silver-streaked hair, a green scarf around her neck, and a peaceful expression that made Lucas pause. "Yes?" he asked carefully. The woman turned to the flight attendant next to them. "Is this gentleman's seat in this section?" "No, ma'am. He's in economy." The woman looked back at Lucas. "Would you and your baby like to sit here instead?" Lucas blinked. What? I couldn't. You paid for this seat." "I did, and I'd like to give it to you." The flight attendant raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, are you sure?" "I insist," she replied as she lifted her carry-on. "He needs this seat more than I do." Lucas hesitated, stunned. Eli stirred in the carrier and let out a soft whimper. Around them, passengers began watching quietly, heads turning, earbuds coming out. "But why?" Lucas asked. The woman met his gaze and said, "Because someone once did the same for me, and I never forgot." The moment hung in the air like a breath. The atmosphere in the cabin shifted, gentler now. The flight attendant nodded. "We can do that?" Lucas swallowed hard. "Thank you, really." He slid into his seat as the woman, already walking toward economy, waved off his thanks with a small smile. Eli nestled closer to his chest. For the first time in days, Lucas felt like he could breathe. 3 hours later, the plane landed in Denver. Lucas searched the crowd at baggage claim for the woman, but she was gone. Days passed. Then, on a quiet Thursday morning, an envelope arrived. No return address. Inside was a small cream-colored card with neat handwriting. It read, "When my son was 1,
I was overwhelmed and alone. A stranger gave me their seat so I could feed him in peace. I never forgot. Please pass it on when the time is right. C. Lucas sat at the kitchen table, holding the card. Eli gurgled in his high chair beside him. He didn't say a word. He just smiled and pinned the card to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a smiling sun. 2 years later, Lucas and a now talkative Eli, almost 3 years old, boarded a flight to San Diego. It was their first real vacation. Eli clutched a toy airplane in one hand and bounced excitedly beside him. As they settled into their first-class seats, Lucas noticed a young mother in the boarding line. She looked exhausted, juggling a diaper bag, a stroller, and a crying baby. Lucas recognized that look, the same desperation he once wore on his own face. He stood, walked over to her, and tapped her shoulder. "Hi," he said softly. "Would you and your baby like to take our seats up front?" She stared at him. "Are you serious?" He nodded. "Someone once did the same for me." The gate agent helped them switch. The woman hugged her baby tightly and mouthed, "Thank you," with misty eyes. Lucas and Eli found 2 economy seats a few rows back. As the plane climbed into the sky, Eli pressed his nose to the window, whispering about clouds. "Daddy," he said, "why did we give away the nice seats?" Lucas smiled. "Because kindness doesn't belong in just one class." Later, as the sun set over the horizon, Lucas looked at his son and felt a peace that reached deeper than rest. That moment in the sky years ago had become part of his story, and now it had become part of someone else's. Sometimes the smallest seat carries the biggest heart.